Welcome to the Power of Lifting podcast. I'm EricCafferty, owner of the Mecca Gym. I am a strength and conditioning coach and a contest prep specialist. The focus of this podcast is to dive into the mindset and the drive of people who have done incredible things with their lives. Oh, Hunter, we've done another 15 episodes.
Another 15 in the books.
We made it.
Yes, we did.
Another 15 deep. So, how many podcast episodes do you think we're going to be able to do?
Oh, man. I mean, I have no end in sight.
No end
That's
in
my
sight.
vision.
Okay, well, there you have it. The power of lifting is not going away. And we've had an incredible 15 on the run here. The most recent, we had Garrett on, talked a lot about rice. As a matter of fact, I went home and made rice after our white rice.
Did it spark it, or were you already planning on making it?
It sparked it. Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
sure.
Yeah. I had not made fresh white rice in the rice cooker in a minute, and it was glorious. So I got to thank Garrett for that.
You got to thank Garrett for that. Secret tips.
Yeah, but we've had some asking questions on here. We've had some awesome guests. Give me some highlights, man.
Absolutely.
What have we done?
We really kick it off big. The second 15 episodes of this with Russell Brunson.
Oh, which episode was he?
17.
Oh my goodness, man, heavy hitters. Yeah, if you guys haven't listened to episode 17 with Russell Brunson, and if you don't know who Russell is, you need to give it a listen. Russell is the man, and I think one of the most powerful things, I'll touch on two things that we talked about in that podcast, I think, if memory serves. Number one is the value in breaking up your routine.
Right.
You know, a lot of people, and on here we talk about having a routine, having structure, you know, getting things dialed in, and, you know, prepping your meals and getting your workouts and giving yourself structure.
Right.
Well, there's definitely some value in adding the spice of life, so to speak, in breaking up the routine as well, because, you know, what he said, what you start to notice is as you're just in that monotonous routine, life speeds up faster and faster and faster, and you don't really remember anything. Everything blends together. You know, so something we talked about is breaking up that routine to make more memories and to, you know, kind of give yourself some time back and slow things down.
It was pretty fascinating. Well, I think he called it an event horizon.
Yes, event horizon.
Where, like, his story was he had a buddy that they were at a business conference, and he wanted, like, we got to go skinny dipping.
Yeah, I love it.
I don't know about that, but I understand the principle.
Yeah, that's
why
I
doing
have
something completely new.
Oh yeah.
Because if you've done the same thing over and over, you just kind of lose it.
Yeah, no, we got to mention that stuff. Right. So yeah, I think that was super, super powerful. Yeah, the other Brunson thing that we were talking about is, you know, obviously he's working on his next book right now. That's more of a not a self-help, but sort of personal development.
There
is
we
what
go.
It is.
Yeah, that's the genre.
That is the genre. That's the term.
Right.
Which, you know, who better? I don't think I personally know anyone better to write something like that than Russell. You know, I think he's probably helping himself a lot in the process.
Sure, I mean, how could you not?
How could you not, right? And that's huge because he's already just a titan of a man with tremendous amount of success. But I can only imagine the power that's giving him writing something like that. But you know, I think my most memorable takeaway from his podcast was when he talked about forward progress and forward momentum, and, you know, the feeling of, you know, self-actualization and the feeling of, you know, having success, and the key to that is constantly moving forward and forward momentum. You know, so that's huge.
Well, it's huge. I think too, if you look at his Instagram, if you're one of the 1 million people following him,
right,
you definitely should be if you're not. But he has a lot of, I mean, you could call it kind of motivational talk, but it's stuff that, but what it mainly involves is that forward momentum kind of principle.
Right.
Like always be moving, always be going, because even if it's slow or you feel like you're at a roadblock. If you're still trying to get through it, you're going to.
Absolutely.
It's only just a matter of time.
Absolutely.
So that was really impressive, and I had a really great time talking with him. I didn't really think I could even have the opportunity to talk with Russell Brunson, but here we are.
Here we are.
There we did it.
Yeah.
Phenomenal stuff. So we had some awesome trainers on the podcast here too for the past 15 episodes. We had Paulie Campbell coming to town.
Oh yeah,
good old Paulie.
There we go.
He was next.
Good old shout out to Coach Paulie.
Yep.
Follow him on the gram. Follow him everywhere.
And that beautiful beard.
That beautiful beard. He's like the buff Jesus.
He really is.
He's buff Jesus.
I mean, he could
Coach
brand
Paulie.
that,
we
sure.
love you. That was a great weekend. Paul came to town. We crushed a podcast, and then right after we crushed leg day. It was amazing.
With a sweet video on the Mecca Instagram to check that out.
Yeah, we'll have to post some clips for you watching on YouTube.
Yes.
It was glorious. We started off with some BFR spin bike. If memory serves, we did walking lunges
out in the sun.
In the hot sun in the parking lot.
Yes.
We did all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Leg press, some extensions, curls, the whole works. And then we went and crushed a pizza at 10 Barrel that night.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yes.
I didn't hear that story.
Yes, we had the hack at 10 Barrel. If anybody is looking for a good pizza, I do not get paid for this. I have no affiliation, but the hack at 10 Barrel.
The hack.
It's brilliant.
What does it have on it?
Okay, so they home make their dough.
Okay. Well, that's a check.
So their dough's great. It's like a thin-ish crust. Then it's white sauce, mozzarella, pulled pork, pineapple, and jalapeno.
Oh my god!
And don't forget a little bit of pepperoni on there. It is exquisite.
That sounds phenomenal.
It is exceptionally well done.
Oh my gosh. All right, well everybody, that is a tidbit I wasn't even expecting.
Yeah, I crushed the whole thing. Paulie, sorry to throw you under the bus, but he left a couple pieces on there. He's just gonna have to work on that for the gains, bro.
That's right. Next time he comes to town, he'll have to prove himself.
Next time.
Well, speaking of out-of-towners, we also had Corey Wagner a couple episodes ago.
Oh yeah, good old Coag. So these are both Montana residents.
That's right. Right.
So we're just stealing all the good, gifted natural pros out of Montana for the podcast.
Right.
Yeah, Corey, longtime client, driving truck. Crushing the pro natural figure circuit.
Right.
Hopefully again soon. But yeah,
that was great.
Love her to death. Her story is awesome because, like we've touched on a lot after her podcast, even if you're stuck driving a truck, that does not give you the excuse to not take care of yourself. You know what I mean?
Well, I can't think of another well, I'm sure there are, but like a job in that category where it's just so far different than what you would expect a bodybuilder to be doing.
I mean,
it's just not.
I bet you could count on all your fingers and toes how many truck drivers are professional level bodybuilders, male or
maybe not even toes. Actually,
you probably might not even need toes, or more than a hand. I don't know.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We'll have to survey the people.
Yes, absolutely. It's just a phenomenal with these two. Just really everybody that has experienced that level of success in bodybuilding. When they come onto the podcast, they talk about it as if. Like I love the confidence too that they have. I mean, it comes together with working with you, of course, and then they have success already, so it's kind of easier to talk about it. But like their success of like, I know what I'm doing and I'm going to do it. Yeah, it's motivating. It helps your drive.
And it really comes down to fitness is just a part of your life, right? And even though they are taking fitness to an extreme, it's just a normal part of their life. It's part of their daily routine. They get up, they brush their teeth, they eat breakfast like the rest of us, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just they're just built differently for a reason, know.
Right. It's not by accident.
No.
They're making that happen.
No.
Right on. Well, speaking of bodybuilding too, is we had the awesome opportunity of having Elaine and Brad Craig.
Oh, the wonderful show promoters.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I think Brad and Elaine are absolutely two of the best people out there.
It was a pleasure to meet them.
The kindest, just amazing people. Been running bodybuilding shows since before I was born.
Experience, baby.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's crazy. And, what they've done for the sport. They always do the Inspiration Award, handing out awards to Cheryl, who's been on our podcast we'll call it season 1.
Yeah.
You know, was a recipient of that. I have another client, Sam, who lost several, you know, basically a couple 100 pounds.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Got
when
that.
he received that. That was really awesome.
Yeah, just absolutely outstanding people. And they do promote some of the most well-ran, well-thought-out bodybuilding shows. You know, they're on top of it. They're sending out emails. They're, you know, they're responding to the athletes. They're there, you know, to make it a good experience for the athletes.
For the athletes, right.
You know, and they've handed off, you know, the promotion of the Emerald Cup to Ivan and Aaron Ribic. So I'm excited to see what they do with the famous Emerald Cup, the biggest show in the Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
Potentially the biggest amateur show in the country.
Oh, wow.
And so that should be, you know, really blasting back for 2022, assuming that we don't get any more crazy COVID shutdowns.
Let's just not do that.
Let's not put that into the universe.
I'm
going to retract that.
Healthy. Yeah, right. Yeah. It's coming back, and we're throwing it in the fire.
That's right. It's in the fire. COVID's also going in the fire.
Yes. So we had some in-house trainers as well. I mean, I'm just going to list them off here. We can talk about them. We had Zach, Alex, and Ryan all join us this season, or 15 episodes.
Oh man, the 3 Musketeers.
3 Musketeers. Yeah, all of them very, very much killing it with what they're doing.
Yeah, and Garrett. Don't forget Garrett.
And then Gary. Sorry, we already mentioned him at the beginning. Garrett, sorry. I just figured we already talked about you.
Yeah. No, yeah, of course. Always an honor and a pleasure. We're definitely going to get Zach back on here. We didn't have quite enough time to really hash things out on that episode, but I think really cool the IYCYM, that kind of background story was pretty awesome.
It was great to hear that because you see him promoted all the time, but then what was like, the reason that
what is it, you know, what does it actually mean, like, you know what I mean? So awesome to hear about that. You know, we had Alex, who's, you know, definitely one of the most gifted powerlifters around here, even though I still outbench him, but I'm gonna let him hear that.
Yes, he will. You're still outbenched.
Yes, you're still outbenched, and I still have a better total than you, Alex. So get out of here with that.
Get out of here.
That might not be true anymore, actually, but
he's gaining strength at a rapid rate.
I know. Anyway, we can't let that strength gain go to his head. But yeah, great to have him on here for the powerlifting aspect of things. Definitely went down some rabbit holes on that episode to do with Marvel.
Yes, right. The show business.
The show business, yep. And then, you know, Ryan, interesting to get his perspective, you know, somebody that's, you know, really getting into the depths of prep. You know, he's still in prep right now for another 17 days till his next one, and then we'll see if I can talk him into doing the Idaho Cup. So yeah, all good things. You know, getting different perspectives is definitely what this podcast is about. You know, if we can help people by giving them the perspectives of a lot of different people that are going through different things, yet we're all working towards that, you know, common goal of, you know, it's going to be really cliche, but getting to the best version of yourself, I think, you know, truthfully, is one of the objectives there, the main objectives there, right? Being the best version of yourself, being the healthiest version, the strongest version, maybe even the best looking version.
Right. Well, I mean,
why not?
While we're just throwing in with it, right?
I mean, no, you're already doing the work. You might as well make a few tweaks and make it happen. You know, it's crazy to me that people, you know, they spend so much time towards their health and fitness and working towards things. You know, why not get a little bit of help and optimize that, right?
Sure.
I mean, most people, you know, that are really working hard, it's like a few little tweaks, and it's crazy. You know, you'll see people that, you know, one of our trainers starts coaching, or if I've started to coach them, and, you know, they've always looked pretty good, but then all of a sudden you're just like, whoa, that's taking it to the next level, right? I mean, oftentimes it doesn't take much, just a little bit of extra discipline, pushing yourself in the gym. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
No, it's pretty sweet. I mean, and speaking of Garrett, we talked about that for a pretty good minute, about how even the best have coaches.
Oh, for sure.
And those people who want to take themselves to the next level. And you guys talked about, even if you were to do it, knowing all that you know, you would want to coach, because it's just better to help you get better.
Yeah, it really is just a peace of mind thing, specifically talking about, competition.
Sure.
I think I mentioned, like, I'll just push myself too hard, and then my wife gets cranky with me because I'm grumpy.
Because, you're cranky, everyone's cranky.
No, not really. I mean, it's just a matter of, if you're, say, on the weight loss end of things, sometimes your energy level isn't super high, things like that. But,
right.
It's always great to have a coach one way or the other, because it just helps you steer the ship,
right,
and helps you steady the ship. It's really, you can know what to do, but just having that reassurance is super valuable.
Right. Absolutely. I think a gal we had on the podcast too kind of epitomizes a lot of what we just talked about, is Stephanie Carpenter.
Oh man.
And her kind of story, but also like the age that she is, just think her lifetime health.
Are you calling Stephanie old?
I am not. I'm calling her an experienced, wonderful woman, is what I'm calling her.
She's the best.
She is the best.
Stephanie, actually, she is squatting to right now 2 inches above comp depth, after post knee replacement. For those of you, go and catch up on her episode. She had a knee replacement. I think she was like 10, 11 weeks out when we had the podcast with her. Now she's like 3 months out, something like that. Right. Or excuse me, not 3 months. She's like 4 or 5 months out. But she is done with physical therapy. We're just doing all of it in-house here now. But yeah, she's squatting to 2 inches above comp depth. And next week we are actually going to 1 inch above comp depth. So we're going to actually lower it another inch. And this week she happened to hit an AMRAP, which is a controlled max effort, essentially. And she hit, what'd she hit? This was a few days ago. No, it was yesterday. Sorry. 240, and I think we did 8.
Oh my goodness!
If memory serves.
And was this at the 2 inches?
This is 2 inches above comp depth.
Oh my good gracious!
240 pounds for 8, which, that's stupendous.
Just a few months out. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, so her that puts her current 1 rep max around probably 300 pounds roughly.
Yeah, when you do the calculation.
If you use that in part of a calculation. Which is fantastic at this point. Her best squat ever last year, it probably was about a year ago. She hit like 390, something like that.
Yeah.
But she's coming back. She's coming back.
Roaring back.
So we're going to lower her depth again next week. And then give that some time, see how that adjusts. Really, it's just the mobility of that knee, which is why we're obviously limiting depth right now.
Sure.
But to be only an inch or two away from comp depth, is huge.
That's incredible.
In short order after a total knee replacement.
Yeah.
So, for those of you listening that, may have fear of needing joint replacement, wait as long as you can, because technology is getting better.
That's right. Sure.
That's one piece of advice that I have in working with people who have had joint replacements, is definitely, just you don't want to just rush into it. Wait as long as you can, but just do know that if you are at that point of actually needing the replacement, it is not it's not the end of the road.
There we go.
It's not the end of the road. You've got life left.
Whole
I've
lot
got
of
people
life
with
to live.
hips, with knees, with shoulders, you name it. The big thing, honestly, and of course I'm no orthopod here.
Sure.
And we are going to have to get Dr. Redden back on the podcast to do a special on injury rehab and things like that. But in my experience in working with people post-op, a lot of their success really hinges upon the mobility and the range of motion that they're able to get back, and how quickly, and and then, you know, muscle activation, because, you know, that's going to be, obviously range of motion is key, but then stabilizing that joint at the same time. So luckily my clients that I've you know, worked with post joint replacement, or just post-op in any way, shape, or form, have all had tremendous success, and a lot of that has to do with how active and how strong they were prior to surgery.
So I mean, it just proves
Right.
It's a lifestyle. I mean,
Yeah,
you gotta do what you gotta do to stay healthy.
Exactly. It's not like we're taking somebody who had never lifted a weight in their life, and we're starting to put them through this, you know, magical, you know, Mecca rehab that can fix everything. No, it's they've, you know, put in a lot of work. They have strong muscles prior to, you know, people that resistance train are going to have better immune systems. They're going to have better recovery from surgery. They're going to, you know, all of that stuff. So
perfect. Love it. Yep. There's not the end of the road. A lot of things that people kind of fear that they think it's the end of the road. It's not. Health, it's never the end of the road. I love
always forward movement.
Love it. Right back to Russell. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we that's about covered these last 15 episodes. We've got a couple of episodes covering pros and cons of a lot of things that Eric has. We had Ryan on the podcast talking about kind of the top supplements, 10s, and then asset supplements. Yep.
There we go.
The big drop of those guys, the foundational supplements that kind of fill the cracks of the other ones, and we've had wonderful success so far. You guys really got to try this stuff out. Eric,
it's been great.
Once again, is
selfishly speaking, I think it's the best, the very best, the best there ever was.
It's kind of proving to be that,
right?
That's right. Right on.
We'll throw in some awesome clips for you guys. Give you some good recaps of our highlights over the last 15 amazing episodes, and we will catch you guys with a special guest next week.
At that thing, they're like, we should make this an official thing. Let's do it once a year. Let's all get together. So we decided to start this group, and a year later, we come back to Puerto Rico again. Same people come back. We're in the same spot. It's really cool. And we start doing the same things. And it was interesting. About halfway through, this guy named Craig Clemens, who's one of the most successful people I know. Like, his company's worth close to $1 billion. Like, he's, anyway, really, really talented guy. And he stood up and he's like, hey, guys, before we do anything, he's like, I think we should all go skinny dipping tonight. And we're like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, like we should totally go in the water and go skinny dipping. And we're like, dude, like we're here with our wives and our kids. Like my kids were there, like that's weird. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, I want to step back, and this is the principle. He said, most of us are achievers, and it's like to achieve success, typically it's like we have routines, right? Where it's like every morning, this is my morning routine, this is my afternoon. Like we have these routines and we have these rituals and these things we do. And it's like they're amazing. That's what helps us to get successful. But it's like the problem with routine is our brain looks at routine, and what happens is if you wake up every morning at 7 o'clock and you lift the weights every day at 7 o'clock, your brain starts looking like, oh, this happens every day. I don't need to remember this, and starts deleting things. And it's like literally, it's like over time, people always say, oh, seems like my life is getting shorter. And it's like the reality is it actually is, because your brain's taking these big chunks of time that you're doing the same thing every single day. It's like I don't need to remember this, and it deletes it, and so your memories disappear, and your life literally is speeding up. And he said, the first time we hung out as a group, we flew helicopters and we had this amazing thing. And I remember he called it an event horizon. He was like, an event horizon. He's like, I will remember my life before the Jackson Hole trip. I'll remember it after. And that was an event horizon. And then next year we were in Puerto Rico and we did this thing. He's like, it was such an amazing experience. I remember everything. I remember the taste, the feel, like everything. And it was like, again, I remember my life up to that point and after, because it shifted it. And he's like, now we're back in the same spot. And he's like, as much fun as we're having right now, he's like, because it's the exact same thing we did last year, most of this experience we're going to forget and delete, because our brain's like, oh, we already did this and it's going to forget it. And he's like, we don't do something right now to create an event horizon, we're going to forget this right now. So we got to go skinny dipping, right? And so we didn't end up going skinny dipping, but that principle was like, oh my gosh, like that's our problem, is that we're trying to achieve things, but because of that, like our brain's deleting these things and forgetting it, whereas like happiness comes from these event horizons, these experiences, right? And so after he told us that, when I'm back home, I sat down with Colette and I was like, okay, we're very good routine people. We have amazing routines that have helped us achieve the things we want, but we have to start figuring out how to weave these event horizons into things we're doing like once a month or once a week, or like what are we doing like to create these experiences that we're going to remember, because that's the thing that gives fulfillment.
I guess the question always is, okay, how do you bench, or how do you lift heavy weights if you can't lift heavy weights? I mean, like, you say, I want to bench 300 pounds, but you can only bench 200 pounds. So how do you do that? Because volume is great, but to a certain extent, I mean, that's how I was always getting hurt.
Right.
At the heavier volume to build to the heavier weights, finally you break stuff.
Yeah.
Because your body can only do that for so long.
You can only tolerate
Exactly.
so much volume.
Exactly. And volume in itself does not translate to maximum weights. You always think, okay, the thing about, well, if I do 5 reps at 250, that means I can do this. That really doesn't work.
No.
I mean, in a sense, loosely, you can kind of figure, but it's not. Heavy weights are heavy weights, and you got to do them.
You got to acclimate.
And so,
to them, for sure.
and so I've kind of developed different things with, using, I'll call them props, using a bench block. For me, has been a godsend because that's allowed me to push heavier weights on the top end, because I was always getting hurt on the bottom of the lift. And so being able to push top end heavy weights using that in itself kept me from getting, this last shoulder injury I had, it was the last one, or the first one I've had since I'd kind of started working on a lot of these different techniques. And it really, I hurt it doing dips, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was injured, and then I benched and then actually broke it benching, but it was already injured. So, using the block helped me a lot, and doing some other stuff with reps, but calling them speed reps. So basically a half rep and doing it as fast as you can with some decent weight on the bar. Mm-hmm. So you build the low end speed, which you have to be strong. You have to have speed in the lift, and then the power comes in using props like a block, or some people use the slingshot for a bench, we're talking bench press or whatever. So all these things that I've incorporated have helped me not get injured, and that way I can keep putting on the heavier weights. Plus you can use heavier weights in your training, like if you're going to do a block bench, and so you can maybe do 30-40 pounds more than you can normally. So now you're actually lifting that heavy weight, albeit it's not a full lift, but you're actually teaching your body what this weight feels like. Mm-hmm. And so when you go without that block next time, you're not going to be shocked and go, wow, I've never held this in my life. I've held this weight many times and actually done some reps with it, just not complete reps. So things like that are what I've been able to do that have kind of kept me in the game.
What do you need to do, and how do you treat and work with people? You know, I think that's one of the things why I can be successful in such a short amount of time, is not only the space that I'm in and the knowledge that I have access to, but because I know how to talk to people and know how to connect with people. And that was something that when I was first, as a first brand new assistant manager, I did not know how to do. Mm-hmm. And so someone who can take you and say, okay, this is how you need to interact, and this is how you connect with people. Like, people skills will take you anywhere you want to be in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is the number one skill that you need to have, because you have to have people on your side. Absolutely. This lone wolf nonsense, that is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard in my life.
Dude.
I don't need it. You do. You straight up need people, and until you accept that and pursue that, you are spinning your wheels, bro. You are not going to do anything in this life without people on your side and 100%. On your team. So this is called Asset. This is our foray into the supplement game a little bit. All of this stuff is the highest quality that we could find, and it's all been tested by us here personally.
The idea behind doing the Asset supplements, it's a foundational line, so it's kind of a little bit different than, say, like your Caged or your UXO, those other brands that we carry. But there's just some holes missing in some of the product lines and things like that, and things that I recommend based off of both research and my own application, third-party tested, pharmaceutical grade, pharmaceutical quality, all that stuff. So you can't get better purity, and then we have essentially designed our own line of supplements.
We sat down and we made a list of the most important things that we had that we wanted to do for a show.
Right.
Number 1 was the athletes. Number 2 was good judges.
Absolutely.
And then number 3 was a show for the audience.
Yeah.
And we have stuck to those 3 things. Those are always our first and foremost things. Yeah. We want the audience to be entertained.
Absolutely.
Like that's always a thing. That's where the show is. The athletes always come first because they are the focus. They have worked so hard to get up on that stage, and we're very passionate about that.
Yeah.
That they must be the focus. And then the second thing, and then the third thing. I'm sorry, 3 things. Third thing was judges. We wanted to make sure that nothing was political, that it was all,
Right.
you know, because everybody says, oh, this is political, this is
Right.
this, that.
This person's this coach.
Exactly.
blah,
And we
blah,
did
blah.
come
And that
from a
was
time
exactly
of
what-
political judges. So
Yeah,
we wanted to make sure that was a focus.
Or when I lost my job,
Uh-huh.
and I first went down to the recruiter station, they're like, "Hey, come down here and let's put you through a PT test. Let's see how good
Okay.
you are." And back then, I was smoking like a pack of cigarettes a day, and
Oh,
wasn't,
man.
I
Okay, so it
wasn't the
wasn't good.
healthiest
Yeah.
person. And my first 2-mile run I did, it took me 24 minutes.
Oh,
And I
man.
threw up like 3 times.
There you go.
Couldn't do
There
over
you
20
go.
push-ups. So we put in the work. We knew that like I had 4-month time frame before I deployed to basic training.
Right.
So I just put in work daily. Just the only way to get better at running is
Yeah.
to run, you know?
Yeah. So what'd you do?
Push-ups.
How'd you approach that?
It was just every day. Every day I
every
woke
day.
up, and you know, I was fortunate enough that my recruiter he had a running program for me and gave it to me, and it was a bunch of like, you know, sprints, like alternate
Yeah.
running, and that definitely helped me get my speed up. So by the time I went to basic, even though I was the old guy,
Uh-huh.
like I was actually outrunning most of the young
That's
kids
awesome.
there.
It was a huge confidence thing. Well, besides wearing a singlet that shows everything, besides wearing the singlet, it was a huge confidence thing to go out there and put up some numbers, and you know, just realizing, you know, kind of competing against yourself and realizing I am stronger than I think I am or ever thought I was going to be. And then in the world of powerlifting, there's such a camaraderie of people, and everybody is cheering on everybody from all different fitness levels. And, you know, from people like me that just showed up in a borrowed singlet, and to people that have been lifting for a long time and that are elite lifters. And so that community really got me in. But truly, it was the confidence and the strength and it was a game changer, really, for me in my life.
When we really get into those mechanics in the very beginning, like the first couple of sessions where we start introducing these things and these different cues and ways of doing movements that they've pretty much done for a while sometimes, and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, that feels so much better. Like that's painless or something. That is just the best feeling in the entire world.
Yeah.
When they're like, oh, I feel stronger in this position, or
My back doesn't hurt doing that anymore.
it's by far the best feeling. It's just definitely relieving someone's pain. That's probably the number one, I would say.
Yeah.
Like when they do their homework, yes, great. But those that come with pain and leave without is like, it's awesome.
IYCUAM, for those of you that don't know, means if you can, you must. And where it comes from is I was playing professional indoor, and we were in Green Bay, Wisconsin, playing there. I forget what their team was, but anyways, we were playing them, and they had a motivational speaker come in, and he was talking about, you know, football being a game of inches, and he said, you know, if you can get 5 inches on a run and dive, you must. If you can, you know, make a shoestring tackle, you must. And it was just like, wow, I really like that. Like, if you can do it, you have to. There's no
Take
other
every inch.
there's
right?
no other thing but to do it. Like,
Yeah.
you have to. And so I was like, wow, that's like pretty crazy. And that kind of stuck with me throughout the game. And I ended up winning the game on a field goal. So that was like, I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. Like, okay. And the whole time I was thinking, like, okay, I have this opportunity. I have to capitalize it. If I can, I have to. I must. So it was super cool. And that's right around the time I met Laura, and she's like, okay, with this training company, we need a name. And I was like, what about, you know, if you can, you must fitness. Like, we'll shorten it, but like, you know, if you can get an extra rep, if you can hit your macros perfect, you must. Like, there's no other options,
Right.
but to do it. And that just really like kind of stuck, and kind of something that we embody, you know. At the end of the day, is kind of a reminder, like, when shit gets hard, especially on prep, like, if you can, are you capable of it, then you have to do it. It doesn't matter if you want to.
Yeah.
Want is out the window.
Yeah.
It's, if you can do it, you have to do it.
So, I mean, I guess I stand out as who I am anyway. I mean, there's not very many truck driver pro athletes on this planet, so I guess there's that. Like, I'm different because of that, and it's like I'm proud of who I am.
Yeah.
And even being different in the sense that I can inspire other people who don't even think, like half the stuff I do, I didn't think would be possible. Like when I was part-time and competing, it's like, yeah, I have plenty of time, and now I work 60 hours a week. And before that, I was like, how do you even do that? And then you just do it and you figure it out.
Yeah. So you want to look at what meals your body digests well. I don't digest really fatty meals well. If I eat just chicken and rice, like I will digest through that like no problem. If I have like a really fatty steak, that's gonna put me like in a coma for a little bit. So it's finding what foods work well for you, and also timing. I mean, some people are more hungry in the morning, some people are more hungry at night. Like you got to figure out kind of what hacks you can do for your body. For me, the earlier I start eating, the better I am.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for joining us on the Power of Lifting podcast. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. For more content like this, follow Eric Cafferty and the Mecca Gym on all social media platforms.